Thanks for staying tuned. My case, Quadri Yusuf Alabi, a perspective on injustice and systemic failures. The narrative surrounding Quadri Yusuf Alabi paints a troubling picture of the intersection of youth poverty and Nigerians' troubled criminal justice system. The case raises significant concern about the wrongful detention, abuse of power, and lack of proper legal representation, especially given that Alabi is a minor. His situation underscores a broader societal issue that demands urgent attention both legally and ethically. Alabi's journey into the criminal justice system began with his abduction by local area boys, a term that's often described gangs that assert control over certain neighborhoods through intimidation and extortion. The motive behind his abduction seemed rooted in the personal grievances tied to an incident involving the convoy of the Labour Party presidential candidate, Peter Obi. This unwanted attention resulting from his chance encountered with a political figure cumulated into threats from local gangs who expected to share of any perceived windfall. Following his abduction, Alabi was wrongfully portrayed as a perpetrator of crime rather than a victim of local gang dynamics. His detention at Paco police station was marked by an unfounded accusation leveled against him that he conspired with strangers to commit armed robbery. Investigating the legitimacy of this charge reveals a mesh of injustice fueled by local power dynamics. Alabi has appeared in court on 3 separate occasions, each time facing accusation alongside adults he does not even know. The legal framework appears to have failed him, as he was remanded to a custodial center without any indication of substantive evidence to support the robbery charge. Given the alleged value of the stolen item, 570,000 naira, one must scrutinize whether this represents an appropriate legal response, especially considering the lack of evidence connecting Alabi to the crime. One of the most critical aspects of Alabi's case is that he is less than 18 years old. As a minor, he is entitled to special protection under Nigerian and international law. The Child Rights Act of 2003 mandates that the fundamental right of children be prioritized, which include access to legal representation, protection from arbitrary detention, and the right to a fair trial. Instead, Alabi's situation represents a stark violation of these provisions. There is no mention of proper legal representation for Alabi during his detention and court appearances. This absence is a glaring infringement on his right. Legal assistance is crucial in ensuring that the accused individual understand the charges against them and can formulate a defense. The lack of representation not only hamper Alabi's chances for a fair trial, but also perpetuate a systemic failure within the justice system. The behavior of the police in the Alabi's case deserves scrutiny. The practice of arresting individuals based on the whims of local gang raises serious questions about police integrity and accountability. Instead of protecting citizens, law enforcement seems to be complicit in exacerbating the very violence and injustice they are meant to combat. Alabi's story exemplifies the deeper systemic problem plaguing Nigeria's criminal justice system. Issues such as corruption, lack of funding, inadequate training of law enforcement, and societal disenfranchisement results in a justice system that often fails the most vulnerable youth and marginalized communities. The presumption of innocence is frequently overlooked, leading to an escalating cycle of abuse and wrongful detention. Immediate action is needed to provide Alabi with a competent legal representation and support, engaging legal aid, organizations and human rights defenders can create a pathway for representation that ensures his rights are protected. Raising awareness about Alabi's situation and similar cases is essential. Advocacy campaigns can mobilize public opinion to put pressure on the authority to take action against the ongoing injustice faced by young individuals caught in the web of local gang conflict and inadequate legal protection. Comprehensive reform to address the weakness in Nigerian criminal justice system must be prioritized. This includes enhancing the training and accountability of law enforcement officers, improving access to legal representation for minors, and creating mechanisms to protect citizens from the arbitrary abuse of power by local gangs. Establishing support system for minors in conflict with the law, focusing on rehabilitation instead of punishment, should be a priority. Educational and psychological support can aid in their reintegration into society, minimizing recidivism and fostering hope for a better future. My verdict: the case of Quadri Yusuf Alabi is emblematic of the larger systemic failure within Nigerian criminal justice system and their need to protect vulnerable population. Now is the time for stakeholders, lawyers, activists, and policymakers to come together to advocate for Alabi and for reforms that ensure justice, dignity, and protection of all citizens, especially children. Alabi's pains and predicament must not be overlooked. They demand our attention, compassion, and actions. I shall go to Rabbi again.
Well, I want to say something. There is this case of, in law, what do you call them? Government lawyers.
Yeah, legal aid.
Legal aid. Is that absent totally in Nigeria?
It's not absent.
If Young,
It's
the
not
lawyer
absent
has
in
taken
Nigeria.
up the case because Peter Obi, this matter was brought to public purview within the week, and Peter Obi, took up the case, called Zinebi Efyong, a lawyer who does a lot of pro bono legal representation for people like this, And I think the matter went to court within the week again, and Zinebi was there. He brought up all the current issues, how Alabi had been to court 3 times without representation and all of that. But now there's legal representation because people found out, about what happened to the young man. And it's unfortunate because after he stopped Peter Obi's convoy in 2023, he became an internet wonder, became popular. He took pictures with Peter Obi thereafter, and I heard that quite a number of people sent him money. And the local, area boys wanted to be sorted. And he didn't, all of them were living in poverty, right? And he didn't think he owed them anything. So one day, he was coming from work. Now, I do not know the level of education that he has. A 16-year-old ordinarily should be in school, right? Child Protection Act makes it mandatory for every child to be in school. Well, primary education. So maybe he had primary education and is doing some handwork. Anyway, on this particular day, these area boys now abducted him, took him to the police station close to his house. I don't know, remember the name, and accused him of armed robbery. And he was, carried along with a few other people that he doesn't even know at all. So this is just rewarding him a goal, for getting popular through Peter Obi and receiving some reward.
And consuming it selfishly.
By himself.
No, the boy doesn't even have money to start with because he became popular, he got some money, but I don't think that was enough to make him.
If it was
to
enough,
make
he
him
would have left
rich.
that area now.
To make him that rich to the point where they now asking him to come and sort. That if he does
Sort
not,
all the area boys.
you know, they framed something against him, and before you know it, he was, you know,
someone
in
said
detention.
online that can Lagos or Nigeria be rid of area boys and Agbe?
No, the government in power is pro Agbero.
Okay.
They empowered them.
Yes, you see those levies they take.
They empowered them.
There is a percentage of it that goes to government.
Oh, this extortion going on?
Yes, goes to government.
No, it's no longer extortion. No, it's been legalized. So
They have tickets now.
NURTW, they've registered
Anyway,
all of
that
them.
makes me feel lucky. In 2007 or thereabouts, I think I was a fresh copper or corps member and was running around from my office. At the time, bikes were allowed. And that's how at this Ikeja court here around Archbishop Finding. There was a crowd my bike was riding through. And I just saw from nowhere Donald Duke among them crossing. He now waited for the bike. Do you know my impulse was to just jump?
And grab him.
Yes, and hug him. I don't know if it was, well, I don't know what stopped me, but I think it was because when I passed him, I started crying. A grown boy in my 20s, like, oh, this Donald Duke that did it. So he just passed by. You know, so I was talking to the Okada man, and I told him, I should have told him, should we go back? I said, no. He said, why? I said, he has AIDS. I can even be a suicide bomb suspect.
If you grab him
just
anyhow.
jump and that was my intention, to just hug him and say, oh, Donald Duke, I'm happy to meet you, but I'm the one who knows
Somebody
my
will
intention.
grab you.
If I'm butted a gun, I mean, it's for the governor's protection. So, but if something good comes out now, so some area boys will be waiting in the wings.
Yeah. There's this one that was elevated from poverty, this fish pie boy. You know, the people who gave him money, when he used to shout fish pie, he has a very good voice. Some influencers, you know, gave him money, used him also to do skits and all that. And the area boys in the area where he lives in a shanty, they came in the night to knock at the door that they want to collect their own. That is already a big man that they want to go. The mentality in this society. So the influencers regrouped and had to take him out of the environment.
Yes, you must take them out of the environment.
Got him a car, and they said I will not be walking on the road. They will harass him, and they put him somewhere else.
What was the end of him? Because I remember Olajumoke, the bread seller.
The end of him is that, you see, people like that, they cannot sustain
God
that
bless
thing
you.
you're trying to do. Because
Olajumoke, the bread seller, if they had just opened bakery,
yes,
they turned her to a model. Then she became richer than her husband. They gave her a home. She said that the husband was jealous of her. She divorced the man, that he used to beat her. Right? I do not support domestic violence.
Earlier on, she could stand the beating. Stand up now.
Yes,
she lost her shock absorber.
So she divorced the husband, and then the rent that they had paid maybe for 4 years or something was now expiring. There were no more modeling jobs coming. She's now back to the streets. And they're asking Nigerians to help her.
Come and help her.
She doesn't have.
Like that woman that said.
So it's not sustainable.
That woman that said that she did a BSc law too in the church in Abuja. After she became very popular, she came out on the internet to say that Nigeria should contribute money. That
with her BSc law.
She contribute money and give her that this celebrity life is not easy. That people are coming to her telling her that was the end of her. That's the statement she made. Because first, they cannot manage themselves. They cannot even listen to a manager. Everyone is consulted for them.
Exactly.
They are coming from the bottom low. They have little or no experience or knowledge to sustain fame.
So manage fame.
To manage fame and sustain it. And to manage fame and sustain, you must be getting resources in every day. Not the one they gather for you once or twice.
True.
You are coming down again.
True.
You understand?
Very
And
true.
they have elevated your lifestyle.
Except they gather the money for you to start business. Like I mentioned that they should have just created a bakery.
So Olajumoke is now better than her.
You see, because once they pay the 2 years rent for you, you don't expect
that they will now come back. They continually pay rent for you.
Then come back
Buy
and
you. She got the endorsements. She got,
I saw the
millions.
endorsement. Yeah,
If she was astute, she was at a level she could have sustained herself.
It's not astute.
See, if
It's
you
not,
like-
it's
you
not
know.
astuteness in this regard, because they created a new career path
For her.
for her.
They took
That-
her away from
From
what she
what
already
she
knew.
knew.
To this fish pie boy, you know what they did? They took him away from what he was selling, and they now made him MC overnight to be emceeing event.
because he has a good voice.
And they now gave him a dread.
You know
To
that.
go and be emceeing event. Whose event? Is he going to be MC? For how long?
You know that. When they say education is a scam, education is a scam.
I pity those who say education is a scam. I pity them.
because you read law, right, and you eventually become an events manager. Somebody will say education is a scam because you are not using your law for anything.
But you are using it.
But you know
You are using it to.
the schooling that you went through
It's
for
not even the
those
schooling.
5 years, right, that has grounded you. The way you are using your law self in your contracts with all your vendors,
You are using it indirectly.
right? Somebody who just came out from secondary school and started the same kind of business with you may not succeed.
I'm an event host, and I've been doing it small before Jam. Lately, my client will call me over the phone and say, "Oh, we like your polish. Oh, we like this." So it's the what's it called? The grooming, the academic grooming that has helped me to be sensitive to my audience. And then lately, in the last 2 years, I even read, as soon as I come for an event, I'll read how best an MC can introduce. Before I just jump on and take mic and believe the eagle has
and
landed.
also, the walls of a university, it's not just academics that we learn. Most students are leaving home for the first time. How to relate with people. When you're going from the university to do your youth service, it's because you have become mature in your 3 years, maybe abroad, schooling abroad, or 4 years, or 5 years schooling in Nigeria.
It's a mature
You learn negotiating skills. You learn interhuman relationship, right? You don't just jump from being a mommy's boy or a daddy's girl in secondary school and think that you can manage, fame or fortune.
I don't manage anything.
No, you can't.
So much for that.
So we will retire for a quick break, and when we return, Bureau Innocent will present his case titled "Are Internally Displaced Persons in Nigeria Still Citizens?" Do stay tuned.